So right now we're dealing with the after effects from an undetermined size tornado that touched down in Citrus County at about 2:26 this morning. When the tornado made landfall, it went from the southwest corner of our county, working its way towards the northeast corner of our county, and then I think probably picked up and maybe touched down in a couple of other non-populated areas of the county, and then continued on its march towards Marion County up to the north.
Can you tell us about any kind of injuries or anything?
So far, just a couple of minor injuries reported. No serious hospitalizations required or anything like that. We did have one person taken to the hospital over at the Ridgeview Apartments with some minor cuts, scrapes, and abrasions. And when you see the devastation of these homes that are over there, that there's about 48, I believe, apartments in that area, you'll understand why modern construction techniques are so essential for folks to be able to survive a tornado or any other type of natural disaster. And the other thing I will tell you is that we pushed out messages through our emergency management system called Alert Citrus to let our citizens know that we had a tornado touching down in Citrus County, and the time to take shelter was now. Do it immediately. Folks heeded that warning. In fact, one of the homes I'll show you over in Ridgeview in a little bit, the lady survived the tornado, which blew out 3 of the exterior walls of her apartment and ripped the roof completely off by listening to what we told her to do, which was get in your bathtub, cover your head and body up with anything that you can cover it up with, and stay there until the storm passes.
Can you paint us a picture of what the destruction looks like throughout that tornado's path?
Yeah, so broken trees, damaged cars, windows blown out of vehicles. In fact, we had some patrol deputies on routine patrol trying to make sure they were taking care of our citizens out here on the west side of the county. And one of the deputies had the rear window of his vehicle imploded into the vehicle as a consequence of the overpressurization of that vehicle as he was just doing his patrolling over here in the Crystal River area. So he's fine. Unfortunately, the vehicle is going to need some extensive repairs as a consequence of that, and we're very lucky that he did not receive any injuries whatsoever.
Do you have an estimate as to how long this tornado's path was?
Well, right now we've got a little graphic that we'll make sure we get a copy of it to you. And right now we don't have a total measurement of the distance or the width of it. The National Weather Service is here from the Ruskin office, and they're out actually doing their damage assessments right now. So we'll have more information about that a little bit later this afternoon.
Sheriff, can you clarify, when you said the Ridgeview Apartments are an example of how modern construction is helpful, is this a new apartment complex?
No, it's an older, much older apartment complex.
So yeah.
And if I was to guess, it's probably 1980s or maybe even early 90s construction. And it just, the building didn't fare well. The roof was ripped off in a lot of places. The shingles were ripped off in a lot of places. And like I said, there was a catastrophic failure on one of the apartments where the 3 exterior walls all collapsed or were just ripped and blown, northward as the tornado made its way north as it trekked out of the county.
What resources are being offered to residents in need now?
Well, number one, we're still out there trying to make sure that there's nobody needing rescue. And let's not forget, we are projecting 3+ feet above normal high tide this afternoon, and we're already preparing to put our airboats and other high water vehicles over here on this side of the county, because we saw historic flooding from Hurricane Idalia just over a month ago, and we're anticipating another storm surge type of event later today. If you go over to Charlie's Fish House over in downtown Crystal River, it's high tide and then some right now, and it's supposed to be working its way back out into the Gulf of Mexico. But this wind that you see coming off of the Gulf right now is not allowing that water to go back out into the Gulf. So it's just going to build further and further and further. We expect Fort Island Trail to be covered in water later today, Ozello Trail, and probably Hulls River Road, to name a few of the more historic east-west throughways to get from 19 back out to those far western reaches of the county.
And on this note, can you walk us through current road closures and how long they're expected to remain closed?
Well, we expect the roads to remain closed until later this afternoon after the high tide recedes and allows the water to go down. As a precaution, we are going ahead and continuing to block off 19 in certain areas where we anticipate there will be water over the crust of that road, and it will make it hazardous for folks to transit through there. So we're detouring vehicles, and we're doing everything we can to set the stage so that only first responders are out on those roads, so that we can very effectively and efficiently get to those places to get out and rescue our citizens.
Now, you don't know how big the tornado was, but like the damaged areas, how big of an area are we talking?
I can tell you it's more than a mile long, and because the road going out to where it possibly did touch down early this morning is still blocked and there's down power lines, we haven't been able to get out there and see. But we believe, just based on what the National Weather Service initial reports were, is that it might have touched down in the Ozello Keys area, which is to my left out here off camera, and worked its way northeasterly as it came ashore. We do know, and you'll see it up here when we get up the road by Fort Island Trail, that a very significant area of that area of 19 in our business district down there, very heavily damaged. And trees, this is a tiny tree, okay? Some trees, I can't put my arms around them, that were snapped in two, and there were some very new, very new set power lines that were snapped in two all along State Road 44 as you head towards the east, towards Lecanto and Inverness.
Hearing what you're saying about high tide flooding concerns, we're not out of the woods yet. What's your message to residents as we get through these next few hours?
Well, you see that fleet of boats over there? That's some of the boats that I've got to go out and effect rescues. I don't want to use those boats. When that water comes in, as we saw in Hurricane Idalia, it comes like that. It's very fast moving, and there are a lot of reptiles out there in those areas on the west side of the county, and we don't have enough assets to get out there and rescue you quickly if you find yourself trapped. So when it's safe to get on that road and get out of there, expect to see more than the normal spring high tide or that full moon tide that we have occasionally where people see localized flooding. We expect it to be far worse. And if you do have an emergency, we know there's about 2,000 folks right now without power in our county, and the power companies are doing an amazing job to get power restored. But if you do have an emergency, please call us on 911, especially if someone has a medical condition and they need access to electricity to run their machines that are saving their life and allowing them to live at home. We'll get out there and get the folks to take care of them so that they're safe when this storm surge comes in from these high winds that we're going to see later today and the extremely high tides.
Anything else you'd want to add?
The most important thing is for folks to remember, if you have not signed up for Alert Citrus, here is another case where Alert Citrus saved the life of one of our Citrus County residents, and she did everything that she was supposed to do to save her life, and she's got the great teamwork that the county's emergency management team, led by Director Chris Evan, who works for me, to be able to get that message out to our citizens. So please sign up for Alert Citrus. Please follow our news media outlets for all the latest breaking news, and follow us on social media, because we can real time put something out there instantaneously to let folks know about what danger might be imminent and a threat to their life.